The Fraser River Discovery Center sits on the traditional territory of the Coast Salish peoples. Territory acknowledgement is one small part of reconciliation, so please take a moment to think about other ways that you can participate in reconciliation with Indigenous communities. Hello, and welcome to the Fraser River Discovery Center at home. My name is Danica, and today we're going to be continuing our series on sit spots. So if you don't know what a sit spot is, I would encourage you to first go to our website or YouTube channel and watch the video called Intro to Sit Spots. Then, when you're all caught up, come on back to this video. So how's it been going at your sit spot? I hope you've been back at least a few times since our last video, and I hope you're noticing all kinds of interesting things. In today's video, we are going to be learning all about observational sketching. So this means we're going to be using sketching or drawing as a way to make observations. When you draw something from real life, you have to look at it very closely, and you often have to look at it for a long time. You'll start to notice things, all kinds of details that you didn't see when you first looked at it. Now, I can hear some of you saying, but I'm bad at drawing. Well, to that I say three things. Number one, there are so many styles of drawing, and not all of them try to look realistic like a photograph. Number two, you don't have to show your drawing to anyone else if you don't want to. It could be your own private secret. And number three, for today's activity, we aren't trying to make pieces of art that could hang on the wall of a museum. We are using drawing as a tool to help us make observations. So who cares what it looks like? Now that we're past all that, what do you need to do this activity? Well, you'll need your sit spot notebook, you'll need a pencil or pen, you'll need a timer, I'm using my phone, and you'll also need your sit spot. To start, pick a subject, which is a word that artists use to describe the thing that they are drawing. You could pick anything. You could draw your entire sit spot. You could draw a whole tree, or you could draw a single leaf. Pick a subject you find interesting. For now, I would encourage you to pick a subject that isn't moving. Some people who've had a lot of practice can do quick sketches of a bird or a squirrel or other things that move, but I know I'm not ready for that yet. I might draw just this one leaf. And before we start drawing, what are we supposed to write at the top of our paper? Do you remember? That's right, the date and the weather. So we're going to draw our subject 3 times. The first time we draw it, we are going to set our timer for 30 seconds. That's right, only 30 seconds. This isn't a very long time, and that's okay. In this first sketch, we're just going to try to get the general shapes in place. Is your subject long and skinny? Is it round? Is it a simple shape? Is it many shapes all together? The 30-second sketch helps us to see the shape. Next, we will turn to another page in our notebook. We will set the timer for 1 minute, and we will sketch it again. In this sketch, we are going to be looking at some of the shapes or bigger details inside our subject. We can start to put some of those shapes in place and get to know where they are compared with each other. Lastly, we are going to turn to a new page and set our timer for 5 minutes. In this final sketch, we can start to add in the small details. What textures do you see? Are there any patterns on your subject? Do you see small holes or cracks or things growing off your subject? Really look close. And after finishing all 3 sketches, you'll have made a lot of observations about your subject. A great thing to do at this point is to add notes to your sketches. You could write a list of observations next to your drawing, or you could describe interesting parts of your subject and draw lines pointing to them. You could describe things like different structures you see, how parts connect, something that surprised you, or questions you have. Now I have some general advice about sketching for you. Always start with the general shapes, getting all the big pieces in place and then adding in the details. It's easy to get absorbed in the tiny details, but if you're making a cake, you can't start with the frosting. Next, draw as big as possible. If you don't feel confident about your drawing, it can feel easier to draw tiny subjects, but if your drawing is too small, you can't add in the important details. Look at your subject more than your paper. This is a hard habit to learn, but do your best. Remember, we are making observations about our subject, not observations about our sketch. So look at your subject. And when you're doing your 30-second sketch, you could even try not looking at your paper at all and see what happens. Finally, try not to use your eraser, especially on the 30-second and 1-minute sketches. Just try to keep drawing lines on top of lines until you get closer to what you want to see. If you really feel like your drawing is a mess, just start a new one. When we use our erasers, sometimes we can get too focused on trying to get rid of everything we think looks bad, rather than focusing on adding in the things that we think look good. Remember, we're just doing a sketch so that we can make observations. We don't have to hang this on our wall. And if you enjoyed making these sketches today, then why not try doing them every time you come to your sit spot? They only take a few minutes to do, and you'll be amazed at how much more you start to notice when you're sketching. Thanks for joining me today. Make sure to check out our website and social medias for more Fraser River Discovery Center at home and other upcoming programs. And be sure to check back in a couple weeks as we continue our series on sit spots and learn about writing nature poetry.